Page thomasgronnemark.com. I have my 4 best basic throw-in drills, and there are already now over 7,600 coaches from the whole world who has picked them up. And you can use them already from U10 and up to professional players, and it's from more than 100 different countries. So this just shows that there are so many coaches out in the world who has challenges with throw-ins because they don't know what to do, but they can get that for free. Of course, they should just sign in with their mail on my list there. But so there's a huge how can you say, hunger for more knowledge about throw-ins. So these drills are open to of course to coaches in India too. So it's just about going to thomasgronnemark.com, and my biggest goal, of course, I've been winning 13 titles with teams around the world, not only 7 with Liverpool, but also Ajax in Holland, Flamengo Brazil, FC Midtjylland Denmark, Philadelphia Union. And of course, it's fantastic to win all these titles. And so, but the most important thing for me is actually to change the football and help as many coaches as possible, because bad throw-ins make the game bad. So with better throw-ins, we'll have more happy players, coaches, fans, parents also from youth teams and all the kids. And so my biggest dream is just to change throw-ins.
Absolutely, that's a big part of the game, definitely, especially with modern game moving into so many nitty-gritties out there. I'd just like to ask, and of course, you've always been ahead of a deck in the last 24 minutes. You've answered many of the questions that we wanted to ask you at the beginning, but can you please spread light on certain challenges that you have faced? I mean, not only technically, but also being a specialized coach, trying to you mentioned about how it's not just about winning titles with clubs, but also increasing the level of football, not only in England but also in various clubs across Europe, and eventually in the entire world as well, I'm sure, in your case. So what has been certain drawbacks or obstacles that you have faced so far in your journey, which probably serves as an impediment to what you have done so far and what you want to do in the future?
Yeah, you can say that my biggest challenge was actually that the first couple of years, I was only training the long throw in Denmark in the Danish Super League, and that was very successful, improved a lot, scored a lot of goals on long throw-ins. But already in 2007, I saw that there was a big challenge with throw-ins all around the pitch. So it was there when I developed my long, fast, and clever throw-in philosophy. So all the throw-ins around the pitch there. And I thought already after a year, hey, I'll get my international breakthrough. But no one wanted my knowledge around the fast and clever throw-ins. It was only the long throw-ins. So I had to wait almost 12 years or so from I saw the improvement potential to Jurgen Klopp called me. So I had to wait for a very, very long time to work with the fast and clever throw-ins. Until then, I worked a lot with the long throw-ins. And of course, after Jurgen Klopp called me, and after I helped Liverpool go from number 18 in the Premier League on throw-ins with a possession on 45.4%, then in my first season, we improved to 68.4% and went from number 18 to number 1 in the Premier League on throw-ins with Liverpool.
Wow.
Also to number 2 in the whole Europe, just after FC Midtjylland, one of my other teams from Denmark. So when you have such a result, when you are improving the throw-ins so much, when you're winning the Champions League, when you're winning the Premier League with a team, a lot of clubs want you. So after that, it was much easier for me to be a throwing coach. And then I'll say again, one of your questions was, is it difficult to be a freelancer? I think one of the the hardest thing for me as a freelancer is that I'm not so often in every club. So I'm coaching many different clubs, but I'm not there every week. And it will be much easier for me if I was like an assistant coach, for example, being in Liverpool every week, or a set piece coach, where I was only in one club, but still being there every week, So I think that's my biggest challenge, that the clubs would be even better. But I've also asked myself, would you rather be a freelancer traveling all around the world, or would you rather be in one club? And actually, I'd rather be a freelancer because I'm meeting so many fantastic people all around the world.
Right.
I can help so many more than only being in one club. So, of course, a lot of Liverpool fans will say, "Oh, wouldn't it be the best just to be in Liverpool?" And of course, that'll be fantastic too. So,
I am one of them.
yeah, but I'm just happy being a freelancer. And I think I'm because I started with the passion for throw-ins already when I was a small kid, seeing my big cousins Ben and Johnny. They were doing really good long throw-ins. So I think I was put on this earth to help millions of people who are interested in football be better at throw-ins, both players, of course, but especially coaches. So I think that's why I'm here in this world to make a positive change for a game that so many people love. Because yes, one thing is Liverpool, one thing is everything you see in the television, but think about the millions of kids and young people, both boys and girls in India who are playing. Throw-ins are important for them too, and it's just so important for me that two youth teams who are playing in Delhi or so are having good throw-ins and not losing ball every time, because I'm talking with a lot of kids, a lot of young people, also adults who had did a lot of throw-ins when they were kids, and one of the things they feared the most that was throw-ins, because they were so bad. They say, "Hey, and when you're playing football, you shouldn't be afraid. You should love the game instead." So I just want to bring all my love, all my throw-ins to the world. So that's my goal in life.
Yeah, Anukas sir, before I take the conversation into a bit more India centric conversation, because even before I've got there, Thomas has already mentioned it twice. I'm gonna ask you to probably ask another question before, I just ask too many related questions to Thomas. So, yeah, Anukas sir, the floor is yours.
Well, yeah. See, honestly, how did like you have talked about the Jurgen Klopp phone call, and I know I'm asking a lot of Liverpool-centric questions, but there's a reason I wear this. Tell me one thing: how did it feel when Jurgen Klopp called you, and when you made such a difference? Getting Liverpool to a side which had so much success in Europe, and overall also improved so much in throw-ins. How did it feel? And how has the journey been managing such top European clubs?
Yeah, it was fantastic when Jurgen Klopp called me, and he called me directly on the phone in the start of July 2018. And it was a big surprise because it's always been my dream to coach the biggest clubs in the world. And I've been frustrated for many years that I didn't get the chance. So when Jurgen Klopp called me and asked me to come to Melwood, Liverpool's former training ground, I was
Mhm.
so happy. And it should only be a meeting, but Jurgen Klopp was so convinced after the meeting that already the day after, I had the chance to coach 21 Premier League players and all the players who weren't injured or at vacation after the World Cup there. And the week after, we signed the first 6 months contract, because I think the club want to see, did it work, this throwing coaching. But soon in the fall there, a couple of months after, we signed for the rest of the season. And now it's my fifth season in Liverpool. So it's been like a fairy tale for me, like many other uh, boys and girls around the world. I've been playing football, started when I was 5 years old, dreaming about being one of the big stars from that time in in around 1980, the early 1980s, and I've always looked up to Jurgen Klopp and his manager and coaching abilities, also his personal abilities. So coaching together with Jurgen Klopp, like again 2 weeks ago, I was a whole week in Liverpool. So standing on a pitch together with him, talking with him, like we are talking now, like you're talking with your good friends. It's
Yeah,
been like sometimes I'm still like, how do you say, pinching my arm to see, is that real? And
just
it was
like,
especially,
it's just like how we are probably pinching
Yeah,
ourselves. Thomas is here with
yeah,
us. So, yeah, we could
yeah,
relate to that.
absolutely.
yeah, and it was crazy the first 14 days. After in 2018, after I signed contract with Liverpool, after I had my visit, sometimes you dream about something that's really great. It can be with football, and it can be in life. It can be with, for our, probably we've been dreaming about girls or women many times. and then you wake up in the morning, and then you realize it's only a dream, and then you think, wow, okay. But the first 14 days, I was dreaming about I was a throwing coach for Liverpool, and then I
Oh,
was waking up, and then I thought, oh, it's only a dream, and then I realized it was real. It was really messing up my brain. So again,
Interesting.
yeah. So back again to your question, and of course, it's been fantastic to work for Liverpool FC, not only to work with Jurgen Klopp, with the other staff, but also to coach Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Trent, Robo, all the stars. Yeah. So everybody, Thiago, Fabinho, Hendo, everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, it's fantastic, and sometimes I'm also in the drill myself, because sometimes we miss a player. You have to get the numbers fixed and so for the drills. So sometimes I'm playing myself in the drills, to get everything right. So it's just it's totally cool. I'm living my dream, and yeah, it couldn't be better.
I have read Robo is the most fun out of all the Liverpool players.
Yeah, yeah, it's just great to be great to be a part of. Yeah, so
I'm sure when you mentioned how you are part of the drills, so the Liverpool boys are surely pushing you to the edge there. But yeah, to now asking you about your, I just loved how at the beginning of this, just before we started, recording this, we sat down with Thomas and asked him what are the things that you probably want us to speak about. And while yes, we have covered whatever we wanted to ask Thomas, but lastly, before we let him go, a small segment in where I wanted to ask about what are his views about India in general. I'll just say that Thomas, here in India, of course, you must have heard about everything that's been going around, Premier League. As far as fan engagement is concerned, last month Chelsea was here for the global fan engagement team. Premier League looks at India as a potentially big market when it comes to the fans, but when it comes to the quality of football, the level of football, it's fair to say that Indian football is lagging behind probably 10 to 15, 20 years. Let's be honest, to put out the real figures out there. So Thomas, like, for example, what kind of an opportunity, like you have spoken so many times about what you dreamt about, now you're doing. If you had the opportunity, if you had the freedom to probably say this is what I want to work in India, so what kind of a opportunity do you look in Indian football, given your experience and how you believe you can create value here in Indian shows?
yeah. First of all, you have a fantastic big potential, and why do you have that? You can just say the size of the country itself. It's just enormous, with all these people. So, are you getting a great structure in the country around football? Great development, starting to getting good academies, and so the skies is the limit for India. But the most important thing for me is like the joy around football. The how can you say, the innovative approach? Because yes, maybe India is up behind Europe and so, but for me it's more about how do you work with football, how do you develop things, are you curious, are you innovative again? So for me there's a gigantic potential in football, and again I have never been in India before. So but when I see videos and movies, films from India, it seems like it's a happy, happy country, a country filled with colors and so I think that if you can bring that joy into football, all these colors from India, bring that into the football world itself, then you can even develop, how can you say, your own style of football in India. Yes, of course, you can copy a lot of things from the Premier League or Europe, the best leagues in the world, but it's also about finding your own style. So I think there's a bright future for football in India. And then throw-ins is a big one, because some people think throw-ins is just a little thing, but there are actually normally 40 to 60 throw-ins a match. You're using approximately 20 minutes of playing time on throw-in related situations. So one thing is
Yeah.
throw-ins, but my coaching is also affecting, other parts of the game, like the fast throw-in will also often affect fast free kicks, fast corner kicks, and so being switched on in the game in general, so you have a faster game. So again, one of my biggest dreams is to come to India and give some inspiration again to a club or the federation where coaches can come, or just travel around India to give like clinics and so. And people out there, some people out there think, oh, we can't afford to invite him to India because he's like he's like in the biggest clubs in the world and they pay him a lot. Yes, it's right. They pay me a lot, but I'm always working with how can you say, prices who's converted to the level of the country or the club. So I'm also often coming to smaller countries, smaller clubs. For example, last year was at an amateur club in Iceland, and so we made it work, because for me, this is not about earning money or winning titles. It's about developing football, getting a lot of good experience around the world. So one of my biggest dreams is to come to India. So if there's somebody in India, no matter if it's a club, a federation, or some people who are having a little bit money to invite me, I'll be really open-minded. Yeah, I want to go everywhere in the world.
Absolutely. I think it's been a wonderful 40 minutes for us here. Uh Anuka sir, of course you are gonna remember this entire 40-minute conversation with someone who is from like your favorite club and has been kind enough to share so much with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas, for joining us, man. It means so much actually. And I had been talking to Doi about having a real marquee guest for the 50th episode, since he and I we have put in a lot of work over the last 16 months, because in India football is priority sport at the moment, but it's starting to grow in relevance. So we really wanted to bring football closer to the people here. So we started with the Indie Football podcast in January of last year. We tried to record an episode every week. We have had people like Semra Hunter and all, and like having you here, it means a lot. And I'm sure it will do a lot to the people here, to the fans here. And thank you again for being so humble, so kind, and joining us. And we hope to have you soon with us again. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just like end my last thing with saying, first of all, thank you, Akash, for supporting Liverpool FC. You might think I'm only one person. What does that mean? There are like 50 million Liverpool fans around the world, but no, every single fan of Liverpool FC means a lot. So you're like an advocate for Liverpool FC, having that shirt on. So it means a lot, not only for me, but I can say for sure for the whole club, but also for other Liverpool fans. So first of all, thanks a lot for that. And then both of you, I'll say the podcast here doing this for Indian football, it means a lot. Sometimes you think, oh, it's only a podcast, or it's only like, no, because these podcasts are, seen and heard by so many people. So you bring so much positive influence. You're helping Indian football so much. And you may think that, oh, it's only about India now, but in the future there'll be people who say we want to know more about Indian football. They find your podcast, and so so again, thanks for inviting me here. It was a totally pleasure, and thanks for your podcast and everything. Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas, for taking all this time in. And in Mumbai, where I am currently in India, a lot of people are trying to do a lot for Indian football federations, clubs. So if there's any way, like if I found anyone who can probably uh, afford to have you here in India, I will probably contact you at that time. But no, we'll thank you for your time, and yeah, looking forward to see you in some capacity or the other sometime soon.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Good
Yeah.
night.
Welcome.
Take
Have a
care.
great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.